Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Agents of MACE. Today we're talking I Am Groot, the 5-episode mini-series that just dropped today, following, I guess, the adventures of baby Groot. Overall, first thoughts, it was fun. I feel like the animation in it was done well, but it definitely seemed like a tick down from maybe like movie level animation. Nothing super noticeable or terrible, but it is there. And it had literally nothing to do with anything, which I expected, but I was also kind of hoping that maybe we'd get a glimpse of some sort of backstory to what's going on or where the Guardians are now or something like that. But no, sadly, it's just 5 episodes of filler. I guess episode 1, we do get a little bit of backstory on nothing important, but yeah, so first thoughts, I thought it was fun. How about you, Elisa?
Yeah, I thought it was cute. It it demonstrated that Groot is kind of a goblin, as we will talk about as we go into each individual episode. I'm with you. I didn't think that it was as good as some of the other shorts and things that I've seen on Disney Plus, and it's whether or not it's canon. I had to look it up, and it said that it was the same level of canon as the Team Thor things, where like it sort of fits, but not really,
Okay.
and it's mostly just there to be fun and funny. So we could read this as Groot's actual adventures between Guardians 1 and like Guardians 2, but mostly it's just Groot adventures while he is mysteriously unsupervised on what appear to be a number of alien worlds.
Yeah. It did make me think, though, because we had this discussion after watching Thor, that the guy who plays their roommate is the guy who's leading the tours in New Asgard.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, oh, so is this canon? So I think that now I want to go back and watch both Guardians movies and see if I can find any little tidbit in the background that may have to do with these episodes, because I don't know, the drawing that he does in the last episode could very easily be hidden, or not even hidden. It could have just been in plain sight and we just never really thought about it. And maybe they pulled that for this. So now I definitely want to go back. But I guess we'll kind of go through these in the loose order that they are in. Really, I guess only the first episode matters to be first.
Yeah, and one of the I told Drew before we got started that there was only one thing that really bothered me about the series, and that is it's not really with the series, it's with Disney Plus not making a page for the series or a playlist. It's always having to like hunt for these things individually. I'll watch them way out of order. Like Groot's First Steps, which is clearly the first one chronologically because he can walk and all the rest of them. I didn't find that one till like next to last. It's ridiculousness. Come on, get your stuff together.
Yeah,
Disney Plus.
I thought that was weird too, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh boy, the new episode. So I clicked the first one, I watched it, and then it wouldn't tell me that it wanted to play the next episode. I was just watching credits. So I was like, this is weird. So I waited, the credits ended, and then it kicked me back out to the like home screen for that episode. And I was like, what? Is it only one episode? And then I looked and nope, there they all were. But yeah, they are individual for some reason.
I did have like a moment of panic like that where I was worried that they were releasing them one at a time, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
We're going to spend our whole podcast talking about a 3-minute short?
Yeah, it was confusing. But yeah, the first episode, Groot's First Steps, starts with him in the pot, which is, I guess, kind of where we leave him at the end of the first Guardians movie. So this is where this sort of picks up, and we get to see his emergence from the pot into a Groot that we know and love, run around on his little feet. It's funny that there are these like plant robots, I guess, that like give him baths and put towels on him or blankets on him when he's cold. Um, and then very quickly, as soon as he like cracks the vase
Mm-hmm.
that he's in, and the robots replace him in that spot with like some sort of alien bonsai tree. But they never repot him, which like I don't know if that's because like they knew that like, oh, okay, he has feet now, so he's not our plant.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just weird to me because when they set him down, behind him there's like a mug, so I thought that for sure they were gonna like replace him in the mug, and then that never happened. They just sort of left him there. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was confused about that too. I'm like, okay, this is not just a plant; it's a baby.
Yeah.
And y'all are just done with it after it
Yeah.
cracks its little pot that it's in. It could be that the robot is super smart and knows like, oh, this is step one in Groot becoming a little toddler. And it also did make sense to me that this particular group has robots to take care of their plants, because none of them strikes me as being responsible enough to care for a baby tree person. Except Gamora, I guess. Gamora would probably be a good parent, but nobody else would.
I honestly thought that Drax would, but I feel like my only issue with this whole series was that there weren't Guardians.
Well,
Like, yeah, we get one in the last episode, but there aren't, like, I don't know. I expected them to be more a part of this. And so I was fully expecting like, oh, Drax is gonna come like water Groot or something, but no, that doesn't happen. Nobody cares.
No. And it probably has to do with, first of all, the actors being busy, and also because they would have looked weird rendered in an all CG environment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's less noticeable when we get the Guardian that we do get later on. But I think that if they'd had a human or humanoid character, it might have been a little bit weird.
Which I guess technically we do also get in that same episode. But it's through like a steamed fog glass, so it's like, oh, okay, you can kind of assume somebody's in there.
Right. This is our first time in this series, first of many, where Groot harms another creature.
Yeah.
He picks up the bonsai tree.
He like rips its branch off, and it has some sort of weird gooey gelatinous center that keeps it attached. But yeah, I was like, oh, that doesn't seem very Groot-like to destroy this tree, but okay.
But then at the end, he is taking care of it. He feels bad because he knocks it out of its little thing, and then he puts it up there and gives it a blanket and is trying to share a snack with it.
And he tapes the broken branch back on. Yeah, and that's sort of it for the first one.
Yep.
I did want to mention one thing that I appreciated they did in this episode was whenever Groot like elongates or stretches his limbs in the movies, we never really see, they like cut away, and then when they cut back to him, he's like normal again. We never really see what happens to his arms and legs when he grows them like that. So I appreciate that they kind of showed that in this, that he's able to like super stretch his arms or his legs, and then they sort of like wither off of him. It's almost like an extension of himself that he can kind of like remove whenever he wants.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, that does it for Groot's first steps. So I'm interested if you watch these out of order. I watched them in the order that they are posted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe tab on Disney Plus. So I don't know if this is the order they're supposed to be in either. But
I checked Wikipedia and tried to number them based on what they had there. So hopefully Wikipedia took it from the MCU timeline.
Okay. So for me, I have I Am Groot, the little guy, as episode 2. This is the one that we see the most of in the trailer for I Am Groot. It's him basically on a alien planet. He builds like a little stick hut for himself, and some sort of weird bird, chicken, anteater thing climbs up there and knocks him out and breaks it. Well, I guess doesn't break it. He climbs up there, and then like an eagle swoops down and destroys it as he takes away this alien creature. Groot noticeably upset. I thought that it was very funny how they did time in this episode. I think when
in typical toddler fashion, he throws a 37-minute temper tantrum.
Yeah. For when he's building the little stick hut, I think it says 5 minutes. And then it shows him again, and he's in this like immaculate tower that he's built. And then when he's throwing a tantrum, it says 37 minutes, and then he's still tantruming. So I thought that was funny. Then he finds a rock. He lifts up the rock, and underneath it is like a whole civilization. It's pretty funny because this is another time where we see Groot, like, I get that he's like playing. He thinks that he's playing, but he's like being kind of rude to these little alien creatures. He's like blowing on them and stomping his feet. And so of course they get upset. They start shooting laser beams at him. And yeah, like they have full future technology that they're able to attack Groot with. I wanted to know more about these little aliens. I want to know how they have all this future tech, like
little clothes.
Yeah. Little. They had like jetpacks, all kinds of stuff.
Tiny spaceships.
Yeah, that. I'm more interested in them, honestly, in this episode than Groot, because the whole time I felt like Groot was being rude.
He's just a kid.
Yeah, he is. But he's a rude kid. Blowing on him and stuff. So, basically, then what happens is he falls on the ground as they're all shooting him, and he farts, as you do when you're being attacked. And he farts a full-size leaf, which, I mean, we have zero clue about how Groot's body works, I guess. But yeah, the full-size leaf falls in the hole, and all the aliens are super ecstatic about it. So naturally, Groot thinks, oh, they liked that? I'll go get some more leaves. So he sprints away to gather some more leaves. This is the part of the episode that I was like, oh, this is going to have a happy ending. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a happy ending. As Groot walks back to the hole that these aliens live in, and you just hear a squish, and he looks down, and he has stepped in the hole. We assume killing all the aliens. Which I was like, wow. Oh,
that went dark.
Yeah. A real turn there at the end of this.
Wiping out a whole civilization.
Yeah, this little 5-minute episode. Luckily, I guess, I mean, we don't really know the damage that was done, but we see the pile of dirt at the very end, like right as the credits start, and the little aliens are popping their heads up through the dirt. So hopefully they survived that encounter with Groot. I still want to know, like, I mean, I kind of hope that we see these guys again. You know? I mean, they're fully formed technological civilization living under a rock on this alien planet.
And he harassed all of them.
Yeah.
Full goblin mode.
Yeah, full goblin Groot. But yeah, that was episode 2. So one thing that we were talking about was the way that Disney Plus put these up instead of putting them in their own group or in a timeline of any sort. You had to do a little digging to find what order they were supposed to go in. So I'm interested. Did you watch these in the correct order?
If you're asking me, like, I just basically opened Disney Plus. I went to the Marvel tab, and then I thought I had to scroll down like 3 or 4 rows until I saw them, which they were under like I think Marvel Cinematic Universe row, and I basically just went from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
So started at whatever was the first one up until you get to like I think the one at the after the end was like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So that's all I did. Once I watched them all, I did go back to the main page and I went to the search screen and tried to search for them to see what would happen, which if you type in I am Groot, I don't think any of them showed up. If you type in just Groot, like only 3 of them show up.
Interesting.
So they made it really complex to kind of get to them easily. I feel like this should have its own row. Like, why not highlight it, you know?
Right. That was something that Elisa and I were talking about, because even like Doug Days had its own, like you clicked it. It was like a series instead of just random one-offs. I mean, even Marvel One-Shots has its own line. Yeah. So it's interesting that this didn't get that treatment.
I'm also curious if these appear under like a kid's profile. I need to go back and look because I have a dedicated profile for like my kids. And so I'm curious what will happen there. I'd also be, because I think flipping away from Marvel for a second, I think like new Bluey episodes are out. So it'd be interesting if like Bluey gets his own row and like I Am Groot gets nothing. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah. I hope that maybe they fix it just because it's a little messy. Yeah. Especially since they put it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe line. It's like these 5.
Well, is that the order
episodes
we're talking through them in for like left to right?
Yeah.
Is that the proper order?
So that's the order that I watched them in. I watched the first one and I kept expecting it to take me to the next and it didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't even auto take you. You have to like back out and then.
So I had to like search a little bit too on the Marvel tab before I found them. So I watched them in this order. Elisa watched them in all over.
Oh. The order in which I found them.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of how people end up seeing this, unless they fix it. But again, really, Groot's First Steps is like absolutely the first episode. The other ones, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of watch them in any order. It's not like anything.
Yeah, I mean, I watched them in the correct order. So it's Groot's First Steps, The Little Guy, Groot's Pursuit, Groot Takes a Bath, and Magnum Opus.
So speaking of Groot's Pursuit, let's dive in. Because
you know what? Why didn't they just go with the whole thing and just title all of them the same, like I Am Groot, but they actually mean something?
That would be really funny.
Yeah.
Or even if they had put like the title of the episode in like quotes or something.
Yeah.
So like
right beside. That would be funny.
Groot's Pursuit was a little bit different than the first 2. I felt like in the first 2 something happened, and in this one nothing happened.
Except for an unambiguous murder.
Yes. And some sort of weird shape-shifting monster that we may never know what it is.
Right?
Basically,
it reminded me of the thing on Treasure Planet, if y'all have ever seen that.
Yes. Basically, Groot's asleep. He hears a bunch of noise. It's interesting. No one else hears any of this noise. But he goes to investigate, and it becomes a little bit of like a horror movie or suspense thriller or something. As we're seeing this like alien shape sprint past the screen every now and then. Groot finally finds wherever it went, because he's following these
everywhere.
Like he's following these like oil slicks. All of the, I don't even know what a jelly. I don't know. It all forms together into a copy of Groot, and they argue for a second. Where the copy says I am Groot and Groot says I am Groot, and then there's a dance-off. And the whole time I was like, what am I watching? Like,
how is this not waking anybody up?
Yeah. this is the one episode where I think I noticed the animation the most, because it looked sort of like, have you seen that that like animated GIF of Thanos doing the Fortnite dance? That's what this reminded me of. This reminded me of somebody who's like very skilled at animation, but not to the level of like the movies, or maybe not that level of funding behind it. Like this seemed like somebody in their graduate year of animation school animated this dance. And so it's good. It looks good, but it just looks off a little bit. Like it doesn't look as good as you would expect it to look. I don't know. I didn't see the point of this one. Of all of them, this is my least favorite one.
I did get I had like an emotional moment with this one, primarily because of the voice. So this little alien copy or whatever actually has more dialogue, says more things other than just "I am Groot." But you know which actor popped into my head at this moment? Do you know who it sounds like? Sounds like Robin Williams. Like, just go back and rewatch this one and listen to it.
It does have a very like genie moment.
Yeah, and I can't remember the actor's name. I mean, at the end, you can. I paused the credits to see, because I was at one moment I was curious. I was like, "Whoa, were they able to like take Robin Williams' voice and like use it for this?" And it's a different actor, which the little the watch face voice was James Gunn. But yeah, no, like this little alien did sound like Robin Williams, and I just like, it kind of got me in a moment, because I was like, man, if he was still alive, just I could totally see them casting him as Groot, you know?
Yeah.
And just utilizing him throughout the whole Marvel universe in different voices and things like that. So like that hit me. But yeah, I agree. I did struggle with this episode, because like, especially like the scenes where you see Groot walking, but you can see the goo on the floor, and it looks like Groot's walking right over it. But I would expect like him to like slip or like not have such a steady walk, right?
Right. It just felt like, what was the point of it? Especially if like the alien itself was made of the goo. It's interesting that didn't seem to matter that much.
Yeah.
For most of it. The one thing that I pulled from this episode, that I'll post on our social media so you can see what I'm talking about, but there's a moment when he's sitting on the toilet and he's reading a book, and on the front of the book are 4 pictures. It's Thanos, it's a duck's butt, it's a banana, a purple and pink banana, and it's the little alien from the previous episode. Not the one that he steps on, but like the alien chicken thing. So immediately I took a screenshot and I was like, this is going to be something. Like, this is going to be like each of these things is in an episode or something like that, because of that little alien. Then he walks into the other room, and lo and behold, there's the pink and purple banana. So I was like, oh, I nailed it. Like 100% this has something to do with this show. So the rest of the time I was like, where's the duck butt? Where's Thanos? That's all I'm missing. Never saw him. Thanos isn't a part of this. Duck butt's not a part of this. I mean, maybe you could construe duck butt from like the squirrel thing. I don't know. But I was like, well, so what was that? Does that mean anything? And it's in like an alien language, so I don't even know what the book is called. So I don't know. I feel like I'm going to end up doing what I did with the tattoo from Winter Soldier and look too much into this. Like, is this an alien language that I can translate? And it's probably not. So
no, I think you're good.
I'll leave that up to you, listener. If you find out that it's something, let me know.
Let us know on social.
But yeah, then the dance contest literally ends with Groot tricking the alien Groot into dancing right into the airlock. and Groot shoots him into space.
It's like a nod to aliens.
Yeah.
You know?
Just Groot being mean to some other life form yet again.
It's very consistent.
All right, well, let's move on. Groot Takes a Bath is episode 4, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun up until the end, in which, yet again, Groot is noticeably mean and violent towards another life form. Groot finds a pool of water that somehow has like steam vents in it. He covers himself with mud and falls asleep, and when he wakes up, he's covered in leaves. He very quickly realizes that if he puts the mud on places, he can grow leaves, and that's the plot of the episode. I thought that we would get more references to either other Disney properties or other Marvel properties. This seemed like the perfect place to, like, you know, he could have like grown Mickey ears or grown like an Iron Man suit or something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there were so many opportunities.
The horse, and I can't remember, like one of the maybe the second or third one. Like he could have did like Lion King or something.
Yeah.
Like, which there's one that could have been that, but I don't think it was. I think it was like a dog. I don't know. Missed opportunities. I agree.
Yeah, there were just so much more could have been done with this. I did enjoy when he turns himself into a princess and he's like walking and he's like, "I am Groot. I'm Groot. I'm Groot." And I was like, "Oh, this is great."
It's like the full Marie Antoinette.
Yeah. The whole time he's doing this, he's disturbing this squirrel with like all this crazy hair. Yeah. Squirrel bird.
It's a weird bird squirrel rainbow creature.
Can't take a nap.
Who then jumps down and attacks Groot and messes up his princess hair and laughs at him. And then Groot gets a evil look in his eye. Well, no, first he runs back to the pool, which has evaporated somehow, like instantly. I guess we're supposed to assume that he like scooped all the mud to the point where the water drained away. I don't know. But it's not there, so he can't do it anymore. There is a sad moment where he like picks up the leaves that have fallen off of him and he hugs them. But then he gets his little smirk, and the next time we see him, he's strutting back to the ship with the squirrel bird's, it looks like the squirrel bird's tail wrapped around him like a scarf. We then see the squirrel bird completely naked, shivering in the tree, and I was like, man, they are making Groot like real mean. Like, that just doesn't seem like a thing Groot would do. But that's how they wrap up this episode. I think everything up until that point was probably my favorite for this series. I think it was fun to see Groot having fun. I do wish that there had been more references put in here, but that's just personal opinion. Doesn't necessarily need them. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
And I guess we can forgive Groot tearing out what I think are tail feathers, ?
Yeah.
Whenever I think about how often I've had a precious baby toddler rip my hair out by the root. Just plain.
Yeah, but then they don't drape it around them like a scarf and strut out of the room.
They don't, usually, but... He was a baby. It wasn't fancy.
To follow this, the final episode is I Am Groot Magnum Opus, where we follow Groot as he steals things from throughout the ship, all to make a piece of art. This is the only episode that we get any other Guardians. We only get one Guardian that speaks, but technically we get two. We do see Drax in the shower, but it's kind of like through the steamed up shower door.
I did see something online. Like, I think some people were questioning if that was Drax or if that could have been Star-Lord. I'm leaning towards Drax.
I had the same thought only because it didn't seem big enough to be Drax, but there didn't seem to be any hair. And then later, Rocket says that was Drax's soap that he stole. So I assumed that it was Drax. But it could also be like Peter stole Drax's soap and Drax has been looking for it. It was interesting because we don't get to see... I mean, these episodes are short. I mean, most of them are 5 minutes long. And that's including credits. So I know that there's not like time to do anything. But... literally the whole episode is Groot running around doing stuff and we don't know what he's doing. And it's funny. There are comedy moments. But I just kept thinking, like, what is it going to be? Like, what's it going to be? And then when we finally see it, it's a painting / drawing / I don't know, he burned part of it with the jet boot. Like, I don't know. But it's of the Guardians, basically. And this is the one thing that I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the background in Guardians 1 or 2, and we just never thought about it. We're just like, oh, it's some background artwork or something. So I'm interested. I want to go back and watch, I guess, be Guardians 2.
Well, I feel like we need to see this picture in Guardians 3.
Yes.
I think it's going to make more sense because, like, the first I Am Groot short would take place between Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. The rest of these would take place after Guardians 2.
Okay. I mean, well, no, we couldn't see it. Maybe we should look for it in like Endgame or Infinity War. Because now Groot is like a teenager. So,
yeah.
Unless Guardians 3 takes place before that, he would still be a teenager now. Which, point. I mean, they could still have it. But I think that, like, I don't know, this just seems like the perfect thing to...
It's got to be out there somewhere.
Pull from something and be like, oh, yeah, you guys didn't even know it. But, like, this is the origin story for that picture.
They do have the Christmas special later this year, too.
That's true,
up.
It is funny when he went to cut part of Rocket's tail. I completely forgot about Rocket. And so when he was doing that, I was like, wait, do they have a cat? I don't remember the Guardians having a cat. And then, later Rocket says, is that my hair? And I was like, oh, that was Rocket's tail. I feel so dumb. I thought
the tail was going to be all we saw of Rocket or any of the Guardians in the whole thing. I just thought, look, we got a piece of someone in this, and then he turns up at the end.
Yep.
The only
Bradley Cooper and Rock, like full thing. Yeah.
He's the only reason that I knew Rocket was going to have a speaking part was that Bradley Cooper was early on stated that Bradley Cooper is going to be a part of I Am Groot. So it was like, okay, well, he has to say something. They're not just going to show the tail and be like, yeah, that was Bradley Cooper. Like, but that doesn't, what? But I thought it was funny. I enjoy Rocket and Groot's relationship.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see more of that. I wish that we had gotten more than what we did because it was all of
3 minutes.
Maybe, but not even. Rocket was like maybe 15 seconds.
I think the best thing I've seen is they took someone took a still of Rocket after he puts on his reading glasses to look at the picture, and they put it side by side of a picture the picture of Winnie the Pooh holding the paper, like squinting, and they just put same energy.
Yeah, when he put on his glasses, my first thought was that scene in Logan.
Yeah.
When Logan puts on the reading glasses to read the phone. I was like, oh, that looks just like that. But it's also just funny that Rocket wears glasses. Something we haven't seen before. So it basically ends with them trying to fix this hole in the floor that Groot has blown with a bomb. And then it sucks the painting out into space. So maybe that's why we've never seen the painting, because it's floating around in space. But
yeah, we didn't really see what happened. Yeah, with the whole ship damage, it's unsure of what exactly happened. They kind of left that open-ended.
So maybe that will be addressed in I Am Groot season 2 or next batch of episodes, however they're going to continue doing this. But we do know that is coming at some point. So sooner rather than later, I hope.
So, like, with the picture and everything, where I'm curious on, and maybe this was explained in the movie, but like, how would this Groot know about that whole moment? Like, is it shared among the other Guardians? Because, like, the Groot we have in Guardians 1 is the father of the Groot that we have now. So
I think
I'm curious on that.
I think I don't remember what they're called. Starts with a X or a Z or something.
Tree people.
Yeah, the tree people. He's the last one. He's from Planet X. Well, that doesn't help me. I'm pretty sure he's the last of his kind, which is why he's like why the Collector's always trying to get him and stuff. A Flora Colossus, that's what he is. And they don't reproduce with seeds, or they can reproduce with seeds, but in Groot's case, it's always the like piece of him or whatever, the like heart of him, I think is the part that you can plant and regrow Groot. So it's still Groot. As opposed to being like a new Flora Colossus.
I thought Gunn said that no, this isn't. This is like Groot's son.
Oh, well, I mean, the MCU is its own thing at this point, so it's very, very well could be.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Director James Gunn seems to have confirmed the fact the pair are not the same person. The original Groot is dead. First Groot is dead. Baby Groot is his son.
Okay, well, then I have no idea. Unless
that's why I'm like curious that like if the memories are passed down, because it goes back to like, you know, the dance off is definitely a reference to the end of Guardians 1 where they do the dance off. But then you just know about the Guardians. That's just kind of their thing, and they're always listening to music and doing that kind of stuff. So it just kind of feels like a natural, like they probably have their own internal dance offs. But then you see this picture from the moment of Guardians 1. But I'm very curious, is like, was this shared with Baby Groot of like what happened? Or is this kind of like passed down in through, you know, their species in that way?
I mean, he's literally grown from a piece of original Groot, so maybe it's just sort of some like shared memory consciousness deal. But it was also like a big moment for the Guardian, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rocket maybe told him about what happened.
Right.
I didn't think that it depicted a specific moment, and I could have just not been looking close enough or paying attention. I thought it was just him with the Guardians, and I thought, how cute. That's precious.
Which it also could very well be. It could be unrelated to anything.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the picture, it just kind of... It just looks like the end of, the first one of, like, Groot saving them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But... I don't know.
Well, that wraps it up for I Am Groot. A fun series if you've got
15 minutes.
If even, yeah. Then yeah, I would suggest watching it. Again, it's placed in the Marvel timeline. It has zero effect on the Marvel timeline. So if you're looking for extra story content, look elsewhere. If you're looking for just some fun adventures with Baby Groot, then check it out. Yeah. I guess don't forget to join us next week when we're finally getting She-Hulk episode 1. I haven't seen anywhere, unless maybe you guys have, but I think that it's just going to be episode 1, right? They're not doing 2 episodes.
I have not seen any kind of confirmation on that. I also haven't seen anyone sharing that they've received early episodes, which if that happens, it's probably going to be either the very end of this week or it could be the very beginning of next week. So very unsure on that. I did happen to see the new image with Daredevil, and you see more of his suit, and that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. 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 I wish that maybe that hadn't been put out there yet. Because I was still hoping that it wasn't Daredevil. But it's fine. I'm still excited. So join us next week. We're going to break down the first and second episode. I don't know. We'll see what they decide to do. And then definitely join us next week, because next week we're going to be doing our first giveaway of a Marvel Pop. I will post more information on that on our social media as well. So be sure that you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you get your social media. And please remember to leave a comment or a like or a rating or any of the above on the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, to help us grow so that we can do more things, both bigger and better. And then also tell your friends, because that's the easiest way for podcasts to grow, is word of mouth. So you like Marvel. If your friends like Marvel, then hopefully we're the podcast for you. So yeah. I guess my question for this week, pretty easy, but what was your favorite episode of I Am Groot? You've only got 5 to choose from, so choose wisely. But yeah, so be sure to leave that on our social or in your comment on the podcast, and we'll see you all next week for She-Hulk.